Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. First of all, I would like to thank Layer123 for inviting me to this Layer123 Europe 2021 conference where we discuss about 360 degrees of network automation. In my talk today, I'm going to talk about network automation, and it's all about right mindset and right culture. Before getting into the discussion of the culture and the mindset, let's look at what is really meant by network automation. Now, network automation, like many other buzzwords that we hear today, is actually not having a proper definition. So I just uh, checked on the internet for a description for network automation, and I found this one from Juniper Networks, where they say, among many things, things like automating the planning, development, operations, and the optimization of network and their services. And also, it includes at each stage uh, the network lifecycle uh, using software applications and done through repeatably and reliably. So that is one sort of description for network automation. And if you check VMware, they say network automation is the process of using software to automate network and security provisioning and management, and to achieve things like maximize network efficiency and functionality. And thirdly, I saw this with another uh, vendor, which says network automation uses programmable logic to manage network resources and services, basically referring network operations, which includes configuration, scale, protect, which is security, and integrate network infrastructure and application services. Now, you can find many other descriptions of network automation as well, but when you take these three examples here, one of the keywords which is included in all three descriptions is software. Programmable logic is also referred to software. So network automation, while we agree to a certain extent, it includes software as one of the key ingredients to achieve network automation, especially when it comes to telecom environments. Now, with network automation, the next phrase or the next buzzword that we usually hear is network orchestration. Now, network orchestration, of course, again, we don't have one single definition for network orchestration, but we have multiple definitions or descriptions. For example, MEF lifecycle service orchestration says that open and interoperable automation of management operations. And TM Forum is saying that orchestration is the coordination and management of systems in an automated fashion. ONAP, which is Open Network Automation Platform, it says the arrangement, sequencing, and automated implementation of tasks, rules, and policies as orchestration. And then HCNFE Mano has main two responsibilities. One is orchestration of NFVI resources and also the lifecycle management of network services. Now, the keyword here, what I see is the automation. Whether we are, when we are talking about orchestration, we actually use the word automation just to describe orchestration. So this shows that automation and orchestration is very much closely related. But if you really take at very high level, automation refers to setting up one task to run on its own. So it's basically focusing on one particular task and making it run on its own, basically automating it. And orchestration is actually automating many tasks as a process or a workflow. So it includes many tasks, but then again we are talking about automation, automating many tasks. So I hope it's clear now what is automation and what is orchestration, and because it's very important that we understand this to understand network automation correctly. Now, why the requirement of network automation, or if you take other transitions or transformations that are happening in the industry, especially in the telco domain, is important. Things like telco softwareization, telco digital transformation, telco network automation, etc., is because we're talking about this transition of business from communication service provider business to digital service provider business, which we understand requires multiple changes, including networks being transformed to platforms, or network thinking is transformed to platform thinking, and also this hardware type of mindset and hardware type of networks become software, and also going forward they become cloud native infrastructure. And not only the technology processes, but also we need to understand the workforce, the people will also have to be transformed together with the technology and processes. Now, if you go one step below, we will understand that old generation networks will become more, they have already become next generation networks, and we are talking about software generation networks, nothing but a virtualized version of the next generation network, and also moving to something called a telco cloud. So even go one step down, we really look at the technologies involved. For example, legacy TDM converted to IP Ethernet packet network, and then try to abstract the hardware capabilities to a level where we use software very often to run, configure, and program these networks, and also moving forward introduce a lot of disaggregation and modularity to have microservices type of architecture for a telco cloud in terms of cloudification. So this is the overall sort of transformation and transition that we most of the time envision, and some of the operators, depending on the case, they are in the process of doing this transformation at multiple stages. So the perfect trio for a successful organizational transformation, as many of you would agree, is a combination of technology, people, and processes. So it's very important that we have all these three pillars supporting each other, because without all three supporting and all three supported together, it's very difficult to achieve the organizational transformation. Now, out of these three, people factor, or the people uh, focus, is the kind of common denominator out of these three, because whether it is technology or processes, after all, it is actually done by people, and in that actually it is done by the brains or the thinking or the ideas of the people. So that is why this people factor is very important in the discussion of network automation. Now, how would one actually transform to the right mindset, which is required not only for network automation, but in this discussion, we are actually focusing on network automation. First of all, we need to actually have this software mindset. Traditionally, if you take the traditional telcos, the telco industry is over 160 years old. What we are usually having is the hardware mindset, where we are looking at network as a collection of multiple network elements, and these network elements need to be configured, and we usually refer to them to as boxes, and boxes need to be configured. So that is basically the hardware mindset. So we need to first have this software mindset, where we have the ability to sort of abstract all these hardware capabilities to software, and do the same thing even better on a software platform. So, but the software mindset is not enough for a telco to actually transform or introduce network automation and also succeed in network automation. We need to convert the software mindset to a right mindset which actually supports network automation. That can be done by introducing, or rather uh, adding the things like confidence, energy, guidance, and also visionary leadership, mainly incorporated within the people part of that trio that we discussed earlier. So we need to build the confidence, because once your workforce has the confidence that yes, we have the right skills, that we have the right knowledge, and we have the right attitude and everything, so we are confident that we can do this, and we have the right energy to do that, and also we are being guided by the people who we can trust, that they give us the correct guidance. And also visionary leadership, of course, it is included, or rather connected to guidance as well. Now, this transformation where the software mindset becomes a right mindset in terms of the people factor cannot happen on its own. This can only happen in an environment where we have the right organizational culture. Of course, culture is also related to things like confidence, guidance, and visionary leadership. But culture is a more broader thing. It's nothing to do with technology. It's mostly about people communication and people interrelationships, where we actually sort of, in a very summarized way, we respect each other and listen to each other and accept good ideas and support them, for example. So that's the overall culture we are talking about. So within that right organizational culture, we can actually have right mindset in our workforce. So this is a famous saying by uh, Grace Hopper, who is an American computer scientist, which says the most dangerous phrase in the language is "we have always done it this way." Right? For example, I have taken the typewriter and the computer, because when we introduced the computer like so many years ago, people were quite reluctant to accept that and like change from the typewriter to the computer, because that is the normal human behavior and the attitude for change, right? Whether it is typewriter or something else, the initial reaction from a human being is that they have a certain resistance to change. So while these things happen, and if you really look at the overall picture of the industry, though we talk about SDN, NFV, cloud, and many other things, we also see that over the years, several transitions or several shifts of focus happen in the industry. For example, if you take SDN, software defined networking was the initial focus, and then it became intent based networking, and now the full focus is based on things like automation, right? Though it is actually related to SDN, our focus is mainly on automation rather than software defined networking. And NFV, since like for the last 7 years, when NFV was first introduced by HC with that the first white paper on NFV about 7 years ago, we still don't see like massive adoption of NFV in the telco domain. So one of the reasons for that is uh, there could be multiple reasons, and as a solution, the industry came out with this idea of lean NFV, where we support the interoperability for an NFV environment. And also cloud, which was initially the traditional cloud, now we are talking about a telco cloud, uh, basically become the single uh, platform for a telco to run all its services. And the initial focus, which was on CapEx, OpEx, and TCO reduction, has now shifted to achieve capabilities like flexibility and agility. rather than looking at the capex opex reductions. So these shifts also happen in the industry. Now, why network automation and also many other innovations are actually not taking place the way that we as telcos would really want them to uh, have happened, is because historically, if you look at the innovation over time, we saw that we say 1876 is the landmark year for telecommunication. And since then, for several years, operators, the telcos themselves, did a lot of innovation. We had AT&T, Bell Labs having not only telecom services, but also manufacturing telecom equipment like PST and switches. And then, for some reason, uh, we actually saw an emerging different vertical. We refer to them as vendors or equipment suppliers, and they started doing innovation independently and started their own uh, innovations and product introductions. So over time, at some point, the telcos completely lost their innovation, and as a result, what happened was, like, we as telcos had to purchase the equipment and the solutions which were actually innovated by vendors, and we became really the operators and maintainers of these technologies rather than innovators of these technologies. So the initial focus was basically on hardware like PSTN switches, routers, optical gear, etc. Hardware innovation. Initially, operators had certain focus on that, but then actually shifted to the other areas. So the next focus became software, and with that, we see going forward, we usually, or we have this opportunity to have co-innovation uh, where vendors and operators together innovate these things together. And all these things need people with right mindset and right thinking, hardware thinking shifted to software thinking, and supported by the right organizational culture to do this type of co-innovation. So the new telco that we really need to have, the new telco organization, among many things, will have a strong focus on human resources, where culture and talent is actually managed through human resources. So on one side, we need to build right skills, right knowledge, right workforce, and also to create the right culture so that the company actually becomes something like a software company rather than a traditional telco company. So software mindset becomes the right mindset with all these support from human resource, which is the people factor. Now, if you take, for example, how do you sort of increase your skills base, or how to confirm that you have the right skills? Of course, today we have many ways of get your people certified, or get your equipment certified, or get your entire operation certified at multiple aspects. I have listed some here, but this is not a complete list. So you have many certifications, many conformance tests that to make sure that you have the right skills inside your human resource, and also you have the right uh, capabilities in your equipment and operations. So if you take the Sri Lanka Telecom, for example, we have these culture change initiatives, things like always supporting this learning and knowledge sharing culture, and also attracting new skills, new capabilities, and also letting the the older workforce to leave company using things like golden handshake schemes, and incorporating DevOps culture, and also trying to make ourselves a great place to work. Research and innovation is one such initiative. We have this multiple initiatives like digital labs within SLT Mobitel, and also X stations, and also within our university, Sri Lanka Technological Campus, we also have research and innovation. So we have a massive support within the organization to research and innovation. So in summary, network automation is a key for telco uh, digital transformation. However, it is difficult to switch from hardware mindset to software mindset. And software mindset becomes the right mindset when the workforce has the right confidence, energy, guidance, and visionary leadership. Right mindset cannot itself come to existence without the right organizational culture. But after all, it's all about people and their skills. So with that, I wrap up my talk. Thank you very much.